We speak now to Xolani Dube, political analyst from the Xubera Institute for Research and Development. A very good evening to you, Mr. Dube. Thank you so much for speaking to us. So, this multi-party coalition accusing the ANC of bribery in exchange for votes during last week's council sitting that saw the Speaker Vasco da Gama voted out, and through a motion of no confidence also directed towards the mayor. What are the chances that there is enough evidentiary proof to convince South Africans that this did indeed happen? And what do you expect the reaction to be? Because at this point, it appears to be politicking.
Look, you know, politics is about perception. And the perception here has been created, and that it says the local government, or one can say our political parties, in unison, they can't be trusted, you know, because when you look at in this, how this coalition government has been formed by these political parties from Nelson Mandela to eThekwini to Tshwane, you'll see that these people who are the political elite, they are so immune from the cry of the people who elected them, because they were elected to execute a particular mandate, but they are no longer doing it, but they are bickering amongst themselves and they are trying to buy each other. And so clearly, it's no longer about us, the community, or us as South Africans, but it's about them and them alone. And so clearly, I think that the rot in our political space, you know, it is so unexplainable at this moment.
And we'll get to the nature of coalition politics in just a moment, but just to perhaps step back and look at what happened last week with the push to have Mpho Phalatse removed. That motion was dismissed on a technicality because of the reasons behind it. The opposition filed a motion based on a 2017 criminal investigation into monies paid to an NGO Field Band Foundation. Phalatse's role was said to be that she opined on the investigation but was not a central role player. Could the ANC or the opposition mount another attempt to move her and do so successfully?
Look, you know, I think ANC is not going to get tired sooner, you know, until they regain the power in Johannesburg. Remember that they were fighting the issue of Vasco da Gama, and now is Mpho Phalatse, and we don't know what is next. But as I've said, you know, this really has nothing to do with the tangible or the substantive issues that we, as the society, we voted this individual into these offices, but it's about them. And so one wonders why they fight so much if there is a common agenda in our country, and that common agenda is to liberate those who were historically dispossessed. But it seems as if they even forgotten what binds us as the nation, because the way they are fighting, it seems as if they don't have a vision, they don't have an agenda. And so in the absence of agenda and a common vision, it ends up being about themselves and themselves alone. That's why in the local government, there's so much killings, because it shows clearly that there's so many opportunities in the local government. And so this spectacle that we are witnessing, in Johannesburg, as well as in Tshwane and in all these other municipalities or in metros, really is taking us backward instead of taking us forward.
Is the problem the lack of popular mandate to govern? I mean, it was said at the last local government elections that the low voter turnout would have negative political permutations, particularly at provincial level, for the electorate because of you know, what we're seeing, the coalition governments, which are seen as a Tower of Babel, with parties constantly at each other's throats, at loggerheads.
Look, you know, take for example eThekwini. Currently, there is something that says Policy Kaunda must be removed from his position. You know, and it is a clear indication that it has nothing to do with also about the hegemony of a particular political party. But there are some cliques even within these political parties who wanted to go to the vault and take everything that is there in the vault. And so, as I've said previously, the local government, they are supposed to be the engine. This is where innovation, this is where our country is supposed to be depending upon in terms of GDP and so forth. But what you are witnessing for the past 6 months so far is the bickering. We're not getting anything that is coherent, something that will revive hope to people who stay in shacks, the people who are at the periphery of our economy. If they are failing to deal with the substance issues, they jump to the issues of foreign nationals and so forth. And so it's a clear indication that we don't have leadership in this country, and also we don't have a common vision and a common agenda. And if we don't have a common vision and common agenda, any scavenger, any tsotsi, any pickpocketer will simply brand himself as someone who will bring salvation to us.
And
then
I want to
vote
jump
for him.
onto that train of thought, because there's been a lot of criticism towards the current electoral system, saying that political parties of all colors are mainly interested in accessing power and dispensing patronage to reinforce their hold in office. So is it the electoral system, the lack of governance? Because I hear you talk about lack of leadership. Are we naive to think that local government, given the architecture of our democracy, must do and will do what it's set out to do, and that is to deliver services, given what I've just outlined as well?
Look, so in KwaZulu-Natal, I don't know how many councillors who have been killed, in the local government before the election. And even now, the people are killing each other for the crimes that are there in the municipalities. And so clearly, it has to do with the service delivery. And so anyone who can control a particular ward, even a warlord, even a gangster now, and even a taxi driver, or anyone who can intimidate the society, can be voted into the office. And then when he's there in the office, he knows very well that he will control these local tenders and so forth. And so I think the most dangerous thing is that we are doing as the communities is that we are becoming docile. We are no longer active. We concentrate on the national politics. We concentrate on Cyril. We concentrate on Helen Zille, on Musi and the others, Julius Malema, instead of us dealing with the local issues, because that's where the real politics and that's where the real poverty is currently at. And so
it's interesting that you should say that, because, and I'd like to use this, whether this is an apt example or not, Operation Tutula. There's people who've held it for being at the forefront of the issues that people in communities are happy about. And of course, some of that has been placed at the doorstep of foreign nationals and the crime that is occurring in this country, the fight for scant resources. On the other hand, you have the smaller political parties who say their modus operandi in terms of the coalition arrangements is to cut compromises rather than formulate a strong government plank underpinning by sound priorities and goals what they can implement. So where are we to put our hopes? Because on the one hand, some of these what may have been legitimate movements are then hijacked for, as you say, national appearance, or should I say, to gain greater. I'm sorry, the word is just escaping me right now, wrong word, but I think you get the point that I'm making, to be seen at a national level in order to gain greater popularity there.
Look, I think the solution is a very simple one. The communities must organize themselves, and they must deal with the issues that affects them, because you know it very well. When you talk about water, we wait for Senzo Mchunu to come to our local government and give instruction. When we have an issue of housing, we wait for the Minister Ngubane to come to the local government. I think now is time to make sure that our local leadership at the local level, they are vibrant. The communities must start to talk to each other, because if we are going to wait for the politics that are happening in the city halls, the politics that are happening in the provincial government or in the national government, let me tell you something, we'll wait forever. And while we're waiting forever, we'll be ravaging and be destroying the future of the next generation. And so the issue, the emerging of organizations like Operation Dudula, the construction mafias, and so forth, is an indication that in South Africa, there is a lack of leadership. Because if there was a leadership in the local government, there was going to be a synergy, there was going to be kind of a communication, forums between government and this local civil society. But now, we have been witnessing these, what we call it, local civil societies, taking law upon themselves, claiming that they've been forsaken by those who are supposed to be responsible in terms of social service delivery in this local government. And so our country, one can say, is like a madhouse as we speak.
Strong, that small word of visibility is what I was looking for. But of course, visibility doesn't translate into people's actual needs being serviced. That's the big question. Thank you so much, Xolani Dube, political analyst from Xubera Institute for Research and Development.